You have popped bubble wrap. Everyone has. You get a sheet of it, you tell yourself you will stop after one row, and then 10 minutes later, the entire sheet is flat, and you are not even sure how it happened. But here is what nobody has ever told you about that sheet in your hands. The person who invented it was not trying to make packaging material. He was not trying to protect fragile objects. He was not thinking about shipping at all. He was trying to make wallpaper, and it failed completely. So completely that the invention sat in a garage for 3 years while its creators tried to figure out what on earth they had actually made. The product that now wraps billions of dollars worth of goods every year, that has its own dedicated awareness day, that appears in every office, every warehouse, every moving truck on the planet, started as one of the most unsuccessful interior design experiments in history. This is how bubble wrap was actually made, and why almost everything you assume about it is wrong. It is 1957. Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavans are two engineers working in a garage in Hawthorne, New Jersey. They are not packaging engineers. They are not logistics experts. They are trying to solve a problem that has nothing to do with boxes or shipments. They want to make textured wallpaper. The idea is straightforward. Take 2 shower curtains and seal them together, trapping air between them in small pockets. The result is a 3-dimensional surface with a tactile quality that flat wallpaper cannot match. Textured walls were fashionable. The market seemed real. The concept seemed sound. The result was a sheet of plastic with bubbles in it that nobody wanted on their walls. Fielding and Chavans looked at what they had made and tried to pivot. Maybe it could be used as greenhouse insulation. The air pockets would trap heat. The idea went nowhere. Maybe it could be used as padding for seat cushions. That also went nowhere. For 3 years, the invention existed without a purpose. 2 engineers with a patent and no product. Then in 1960, IBM announced the launch of the IBM 1401 computer. It was one of the first commercially available computers, and it needed to be shipped to customers. Computers in 1960 were not laptops. They were the size of refrigerators. They were expensive, and they were fragile. Nobody had a good solution for how to protect them during transport. Fielding saw the announcement and made the call. Bubble wrap was not wallpaper. It was not insulation. It was exactly what IBM needed. He was right. IBM became the first major customer. The product that had spent 3 years failing to find a use found one overnight. Within a decade, Sealed Air Corporation, the company Fielding and Chavans founded, was supplying bubble wrap to companies across the United States. Now let's talk about what is actually inside that sheet. The raw material is polyethylene, a plastic polymer that starts as pellets roughly the size of a grain of rice. These pellets are fed into an extruder, a machine that heats them to around 200 degrees Celsius until they melt into a continuous liquid film. The film is thin, transparent, and completely flat at this stage. Nothing about it suggests what it is about to become. The flat film moves to a forming drum. This is where the bubbles are created. The drum is a large cylinder covered in tiny holes arranged in a precise grid. A vacuum inside the drum pulls the warm plastic film against its surface, sucking small portions of the film into each hole and forming a hemisphere, a dome of plastic sealed at its base to the flat sheet below. The size of the holes determines the size of the bubbles. Standard bubble wrap uses holes around 1 centimeter in diameter. Large bubble wrap, the kind used for heavier objects, uses holes of 2 centimeters or more. The depth of each hole determines how much air is trapped. The spacing between holes determines how much flat film remains between each bubble, which determines the overall strength of the sheet. A second layer of flat film is then laminated on top, sealing each dome and trapping the air inside permanently. The two layers bond under heat and pressure. The result is the sheet you recognize. The process happens continuously at speed, producing meters of finished bubble wrap every minute. Here is the part that most people never think about. The air inside each bubble is ordinary air. It is the same air that was in the room where it was manufactured. There is nothing special about it. No gas, no treatment, no pressure beyond standard atmospheric pressure. The protection that bubble wrap provides does not come from anything inside the bubbles. It comes from the structure of the bubbles themselves. When you press a bubble, the air inside does not compress easily. It pushes back. That resistance is what absorbs impact. When a package is dropped, the force travels through the outer box, hits the bubble wrap layer, and is distributed across hundreds of small resistant domes, instead of transferring directly to whatever is inside. Each bubble absorbs a fraction of the impact. Together, they absorb enough to protect a wine glass, a screen, a circuit board. This is also why popping bubbles actually matters in a practical sense. A sheet of already popped bubble wrap provides almost no protection. The dome is gone. The resistance is gone. What remains is just two flat layers of plastic with nothing between them, which is why warehouses and shipping departments treat popped bubble wrap as waste immediately. The moment you pop it, it has done its job and cannot do it again. And about that popping. In 2001, Sealed Air released a version of bubble wrap that could not be popped. They called it iBubble Wrap. The bubbles were interconnected rather than sealed individually, so pressing one bubble just pushed the air into the adjacent ones. Nothing popped. The product was more efficient to ship, cheaper to produce, and significantly better at protecting fragile objects over long journeys. Nobody liked it. Retailers reported that customers who received packages wrapped in it were confused and unsatisfied in a way they struggled to articulate. Consumer surveys consistently showed that people felt something was missing even when the packaging had performed its job perfectly. Sealed Air eventually acknowledged what the data was showing. The pop was not a byproduct of the design. For the people receiving packages, it was part of the experience. The pop had become the point. Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day is observed every year on the last Monday of January. It has been running since 2001. There are events, there are competitions. People travel to participate in coordinated popping. A temporary happiness device invented by accident in a New Jersey garage in 1957 now has its own annual holiday. Alfred Fielding died in 1994. Mark Chavan died in 2016. Sealed Air Corporation is now a multi-billion-dollar company with operations in 60 countries. Their original product is still manufactured in essentially the same way it was in 1960, with the same basic materials, the same forming drum principle, the same trapped air. The wallpaper never went to market. The packaging material never went away. Next time you get a delivery and reach for the bubble wrap before you have even looked at what is inside the box, you are doing exactly what two engineers hoped nobody would do with their failed interior design experiment. You are enjoying it. If you didn't know this, drop it in the comments, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and hit like if it was worth your time.